Hello Stampers. This afternoon I'm taking a nice little break from the interior painting job that my husband and I are doing at our house to finish this tutorial while I still have some sanity. I'm having a glass of vino to try to wind down from the painting. If you hear some hammering in the background, that is my husband hammering on the bathroom ceiling. Okay, today we're going to make this 5x5 card. It's a 5.5-inch square actual card. Our embellishments are all square except for our round sentiment in the middle, and we're using all in colors in this particular project. I wanted to try to have something with the PoppyParade because I simply love this ribbon. It's a very unusual reddish orange color, PoppyParade. It really is the color of a poppy. If you're an artist and do any poppy painting, you'll know that it is that cadmium red color. So it really works out well for that. We're also using the free celebration stamp, which is the punch bunch, and you can see that I'm using the round one that fits perfectly into the punches. And we're going to start with our pack of in color 6x6 paper. This is a level 1 Hostess gift. It is a great pack this year. It has a lot of pieces of each one of the colors. I love all the in colors this year. I had a kind of an issue with this peach color, but I'm getting used to it, and it really works well in this project. For this project, you're going to use your pad, and you're going to pick 6 colors. And what I've done is try to make it predominantly the poppy so that it goes with the cardstock. So I picked 3 pieces of the poppy, and 1 green, 1 blushing bride, and 1 peach. I didn't use the Concord Crush because it kind of clashes in this project. It's so dark, it's kind of overwhelming. So we're going to use these 6 colors that I've picked out of the pad. Now, how we're going to start is we're going to have to cut a whole bunch of strips. So you'll have enough left, of course, out of each sheet to make many of these cards, or use part of it, say 2 inches of your sheet, to actually embellish your envelope if you want to do that. And you're going to have a 5 3/4 inch square envelope, and of course, because these are square, they will take more postage. Always remember that. Just stick 2 stamps on there and you'll be good. Okay, how we want to start is we want to cut all of our strips, and our strips are 3/8 inch thick. And what I did, just to kind of save myself time, because trying to put a piece of paper in there and cut 3/8, cut 3/8, cut 3/8 will cause you to have 2 glasses of vino instead of 1. So I just stacked mine all up and used my big paper trimmer and cut them all at one time. Now, you're going to need 4 strips of the green, and you're going to need 2 strips of everything else, because you're going to cut the strips in half to give you a 3-inch piece that's 3/8 of an inch wide. Because of the way the card is laid out, the green needs to be the longest piece, so we're just going to go ahead and cut 4 of those, the 6-inch length. Okay, I'll be right back as soon as I cut my strips. And I've cut my 6 different colors, 3/8 inch strips, 2 of each, and 4 of the green. Let me move those over so you can see them in the picture. Okay, so we're going to start with our mounting piece. This is the piece that all of these strips are going to be mounted to make our design of our log cabin quilt. To start off with, we need to make sure that we're starting in the center of the paper. So I have made, I'm just going to scoot these over out of the way, I have made a template because I didn't want to have to measure, because it'd be 1/16 of an inch, and our paper doesn't have 1/16 of an inch this far out. So I just made a little template by squaring off a piece of the cardstock that will help me determine where the very center of my paper is. So I'm just going to lay my template on there and just draw a little line, move it around, next corner, and once again, just draw a line. So you see we have our lines here intersecting. So we're going to take our 1 1/4 inch punch, square punch, and out of the PoppyParade, we're going to punch 1 square. You can cut this if you're a good precision cutter. I don't care how hard I try, I cannot make it be completely square. Now, we're going to take this square, it's going to be mounted in the middle, and all of our strips are going to be placed onto this. But first I'm going to cover this entire square with either, you can use your Xyron that has repositional tape in it. I don't have a Xyron quite this big, so I'm just going to use repositional glue stick. So I'm going to cover that, and I'm going to use a piece of paper that is non-stick under here so I won't mess up my surface. So I'm going to just place my non-sticky surface. Mine is a piece of label paper that I've pulled the labels off of. I'm using Scotch repositional glue stick. It used to be recommended by Stampin' Up, I guess, until they came out with their own glue sticks, but I don't think they have one yet that is repositional. But if you have a Xyron works really great for this because it's not messy like using a glue stick. But just make sure you get it all the way across. Okay, like so. And a lot of people say, oh, I love the way that smells. So you can just smell your glue stick if you need something other than your glass of wine. So we're going to take our little punched square, and we're just going to line it up. If you line it up with every one of the lines, it'll be right in the middle. You're just going to take a diamond shape just like that, and line up with this line, the point with that line, a point with this line, and I'm going to kind of squish that down a little bit with my finger, make sure it's straight. Okay, just like so. Now we're going to start with our green strips first, and all you do is place them right next to the square right here. It's hard to line this up and be able to see it and not get in the way of the camera. And come straight down beside the square all the way to the edge. Take the next green one, and you're going to butt it up. Make sure you get these butted up nice and tight so there won't be any gaps. You're going to butt this right up next to the green one and up to your red square all the way to the edge. Next, the next green strip, and butt it up to the edge here and all the way to the edge. Butt it up nice and snug, and then all the way to the edge. Okay, I've laid my strips out in order that I want to put them on. The next one's going to be a piece of the Poppy Parade. And what I'm going to do is just take my scissors and just eyeball it and cut that in half. And I'm going to use the precision cut edge, not the one I just cut with my scissors. I'm going to butt it up to the green corner, and up next to the green piece, all the way to the edge. Turn it, take your precision cut in, butt it up against the green, up against the side of the green, and all the way to the edge. Same thing. And you're going to do this all the way around, alternating your colors. And I started with the green. I did one Poppy Parade, and then the next I did the peach. The next I did the Blushing Bride. I did another poppy that was mostly white, the poppy that has the actual poppies on it, and then a little snippet of the green at the end. So you just continue around that way, just making sure that the key thing is that you get it right up to the edge, in the corners, and up against the edges of the side of the other piece. Just continue in that pattern until you have your whole piece covered. We're down to our last little tips. I'm just going to snip off a little bit of the green off at the end of one of the green strips. And I'm going to actually put a little bit of a different kind of adhesive on here to make sure these little tips stay on because they're pretty tiny. I'm covering up just that little tiny tip. So we're going to lay this down now on our paper, and I'm really going to press down on it to try to get it all really nicely adhered. We're going to set that aside for just a few minutes, let this glue give time for it to really set and dry, and then we're going to trim my paper off. So I'm just going to set that to the side for now. We're going to go ahead and do our sentiment. And I'm just going to use a scrap of Whisper White, and we're going to use our Punch Bunch stamp. And I'm using my markers instead of a stamp pad because we're going to just color each little individual piece. And I'm using the 4U that is a circle with a scallop punch outline. Okay, so I have my 5 markers here that I plan to use. And I'm going to use my Poppy Parade, and I'm going to use the brush tip of my pen. And I'm going to color in my poppy, Just lay your brush tip flat on your stamp like that. A lot of people say, well, gosh, it takes forever to color in. It doesn't really if you'll hold your marker at an angle like this, as flat as you can, and try to use the most part of the brush tip instead of coloring like that if you'll just brush it across lightly. Use my Pear Pizzazz, and I'm just going to run that down the stem like that. And then I'm going to use Blushing Bride to color in the For You part of the stamp. Now, if you don't want the For You part in there, or you don't want the sentiment to have any words on it, just don't color that part. Press down firmly. Since you're using markers, you need to press really firm. And there's our stamped out image. Now I'm going to go back and put just a little bit of So Saffron in the center right here around my orange part, just to kind of highlight that a little bit, and a little bit on the veins of the flowers. That just brightens it up. And because I went around that little scalloped edge, it gives me a better idea of where to do my punching. If you're good at centering it, then you won't need that little tip. And then we're going to take our scraps, and I have a scrap of the Pear Pizzazz that I'm going to cut with my large 2 3/8 inch flower punch. This is a real monster right here, baby. And then I'm going to use a scrap of the Poppy and cut out the regular scallop circles. So just go around your edges with your 1/16 inch hole punch and just punch a little eyelet. Okay. And then our PoppyParade piece is going to be mounted on the top of that, and then our circle will be mounted on the top of the PoppyParade. So I'm just going to mount those together with just some snail. Okay, and this is going to be mounted to our card with dimensionals, so I'm going to go ahead and stick some dimensionals on the back. I like things stuck down. Okay. Our piece should be pretty dry that we have glued our strips to. So I'm just going to take my large scissors. You can use your paper trimmer, but I wouldn't do that because I wouldn't want to get sticky on my paper trimmer. But just use your scissors and trim off right up to the edge of the Whisper White cardstock. Now we're going to take our piece and we're going to emboss this quilted piece with the Vintage Wallpaper embossing folder. Okay, look how beautifully that turned out. I used the Vintage Wallpaper because it's nice and deep, and you can see, if I hold it up to the camera, you can see all of the detail, and it really makes those little strips stick down to that piece of Whisper White. They're not going anywhere now after being embossed. You practically don't need any adhesive when you do that because it presses the two pieces of paper together so firmly. The Big Shot with the embossing folders from Stampin' Up! Are a wonderful treat to own because the embossing folders are so nice and they have such wonderful patterns, and when you use them with the Big Shot, you really are getting a quality finished product.